Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Canal Days. As always, I am your host Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts, with Robert's expertise of the local history as our personal guide. Each episode, we uncover history throughout local communities with historic houses, meaningful monuments, preeminent pivotal pioneers, and remarkable remaining remnants, all while uncovering their seminal significance. Today's episode of Canal Days will be canvassing the St. Joseph's Polish National Church of Springfield, Massachusetts, and we'll be expanding our knowledge based on where it's located, its history and significance, architectural design, and why it's considered a cathedral. So, Robert, can you clarify where within Springfield this church is located?
It's at 38 to 44 Prospect Street in Springfield, and it's been there since about 1914 with a very gorgeous church. And it existed beforehand, though, at other locations. And that's because when you come in with such a very specialized religious group, of course you're not just going to have money to build up a beautiful church / cathedral. And actually it was founded in 1891, and at that point they met in storefronts and people's houses for a few years up to 1895. And finally they were able to buy land for themselves in that year on Liberty Street in Springfield at the corner of 10th Avenue, and they made up a combination church and school in that style. And it was only a very simple one and only meant to be temporary, so they were able to move in 1914 to a much more beautiful church.
And can you divulge in the history of the church?
Yes, the history is such that in 1914, when they made up this beautiful church, it served them very, very well for many decades. And finally, in June of 1999, they moved on from church, so they owned it for 85 years. And at that point, the Holy Redeemer Cathedral bought them out, and they moved in, so it's been 26 years now that group owns the church, which is a vastly different church as a Protestant church instead of a Polish National group. And so it's quite a difference. And the Polish National group, of course, means something that just wanted to be part of the Catholic Church, but didn't fully believe in all the dictates of the Pope, and they wanted to go off on their own.
And stick around, we'll be right back after a quick announcement. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? Or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy? Look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Camus. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canals, cemeteries, charming churches, or more, Robert's tours provide a unique and enriching experience for all. And that's not it. You can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making for an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Simply visit holyokecanaltour.org or email bobcat4214, to book your private tour today. But wait, there's more. Don't miss out on Robert's podcast and video series, Canal Days, where you can dive even deeper into the vital history of the Connecticut River Valley. Plus, for those who may not be local, or would rather enjoy on the go, or the comfort of their home, Canal Days brings the adventure right to your screen. So don't miss out. Uncover the pivotal past with Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke to make your own history with memories that will last a lifetime. Remember to log on to holyokecanaltour.org for more information and secure your personalized experience today. Welcome back to our Canal Days episode of the St. Joseph's Polish National Church of Springfield, Massachusetts. And can you characterize the architectural style of the church?
Yes, it's in the Baroque style. It was designed by an architect named George Lovat, and of course it was made in 1914. And by looking at the windows, you can guess that it has Gothic points to them, so that's important too. And it's still a strong building, still being used very heavily, and through much of its life it's been a cathedral.
And can you depict why it's considered a cathedral and what that entails?
it's a cathedral in almost every religious denomination if a church is the home church for the bishop. And thus, this was the home church for the Eastern Region Polish National Church. And so the bishop lived there. His name is Joseph Lesniak. He was the bishop in Springfield, the Polish National Church. But after, the Polish National Church of Chicopee was the cathedral. So they were cathedral from the late teens into the early 1930s, and then that bishop died, and Springfield took over the role and became the cathedral. And so it's not like the Catholic Church, which they tried to stabilize on one church, and the Polish National Church, they move it around depending upon where the bishop lives at that point. And this same Joseph Lesniak moved down to Connecticut, and there he was the bishop at a church there for all the Eastern District. So his move to a new church turned out in a cathedral, and then the St. Joseph's Polish National Church was no longer a cathedral. So it was for a while, and this makes it the fourth cathedral of Springfield. The Greek Orthodox have their cathedral in Springfield. The Polish Nationals, the Roman Catholics have theirs, of course, at the St. Michael the Archangel Cathedral. And then also the Episcopalians have theirs at the Christ Church Cathedral. There's 4 cathedrals in Springfield. And most communities would be overjoyed to have one. Of course, Springfield is larger and had 4.
Thank you, Robert, for educating us on the St. Joseph's Polish National Church of Springfield, Massachusetts. And thanks to our listeners for joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and the fascinating stories that shaped our past in the state of Massachusetts. And a special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. And remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, book private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to keep exploring and discovering the history that is hidden in plain sight all around us. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune into our next episode of Canal Days and log on to holyokecanaltour.org. Until next time.